in my grocery run, I'm not going to buy everything in one go, okay? Let's say I'm going to buy fruit on this day, then I'm going to buy drinks this day, and then I'm going to buy bread this day. So this gives me multiple opportunities to go out and about and have more approach opportunities.
Oh,
evil genius.
my God, he's calculated. This is crazy.
Welcome to Help Me, I'm Single. I am matchmaker and dating coach Blaine Anderson. We are here to help brave and occasionally incompetent singles figure out their dating lives. Today, Jensen is here to discuss the time his date tried to get him to join a cult, his best pickup lines for approaching groups of girls, and to figure out why he keeps getting ghosted after first dates. Here to help me audit his dating life is the insightful and funny Allison, who is going to tell us why she hasn't been approached since 2019. Let's get into it. So Jensen, if you would just look into that camera, like I said, name, age, where you live, and what you do.
My name is Jensen. I'm 29 years old. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and I work for an aerospace company. And welcome to Help Me, I'm Single.
Great. Well, Jensen, why don't you start by telling us what brought you here today? What's going on in your dating life?
So I've been on quite a few interesting dates in my lifetime. I've been following your account for a couple of years now, and I take advice from all the short videos that you do, and I try to apply it to my own personal life, whether I'm approaching a girl, going on a date with the girl, etc. And then I saw that you started a podcast recently, and I'm like, okay, I've been following you for a couple of years now, and I'd like to go on this and just see how it is and just get some live feedback.
Some extra tips.
Yeah, some extra tips here and there.
Love it. Well, what are some things you want to work on? So you've implemented some of the advice already. Where do you feel like maybe things aren't quite coming to fruition or translating the way you want?
I would say it's actually landing third or second dates with girls I'm actually interested in. Like ones who I'm like, she's amazing in this kind of way, everything I want, and then all of a sudden just kind of falls flat. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're doing a pretty good job about getting first dates, but the women you're most excited about, those don't translate to second and third dates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's figure out why.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us a bit about where you're meeting women today.
So I have multiple different avenues. So I'm on Hinge, so that's one of the avenues that I use. And then I'll also just approach girls random out and about, whether I'm going to a grocery store, going to a coffee shop, or whether I'm getting dance lessons a couple times a month too.
Wow. Okay, so I love that you're meeting women in person.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Like I yell on TikTok a lot about how I haven't been hit on in person since like 2019 in Austin.
What?
Oh, literally. Like it just, people don't approach and like.
And you're leaving your house.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do stand up, so I'm out a lot. And like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm in like the comedy like environment most of the time and they're like, oh, she's working, maybe that's preventing people. But I posted accidentally a video that went viral in Austin and people were commenting like, oh, I met my person so-and-so here, and they were all in person, but all of them were before 2019.
Wow.
I think that's such a real thing. I feel like the pandemic,
like COVID changed it a lot.
It
so
made
I'm just
people
impressed
so scared.
I'm impressed that you're still approaching women in person because I don't think that's the norm anymore.
It totally isn't, and that is really impressive. But I'm still stuck on the fact that you never get approached. It's been 6 years.
Yeah. Well, the reason I remember that is because that was like the start of my last relationship was like the person that hit on me in person.
Oh my God, where was that?
It was like I was willing to go out with them because they hit on me in person.
Yes, I think that's something that guys forget as well. Like you can only translate so much online. Like it's very flat. Mm-hmm. So a woman who might say like, nah, I don't like his hair or his teeth or his height or whatever it is online, if they actually met them in person and they had the confidence to approach and they saw their personality, that same woman would say yes to them.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to meet people IRL.
Yeah, no, I tell people all the time, like the reason I said yes to that first date was because he was confident enough to ask me in person. Like he wouldn't have been someone that I normally would have approached or like gone to myself, but I was so impressed with the confidence that I was like, yeah. And then I ended up really liking him and we dated for a long time.
Yeah,
So,
I say this all the time. Women want to be approached more. more. People don't believe me, but it's true. You're hearing it here. Like, women want that. So
Yeah, I think
bravo.
it's just like that. The online is scary now. Like it's kind of come full circle where we used to be scared to get hit on in person, and now it's so aggressive online. We're like, no, I'm not even checking my DMs. You know?
Yeah, it's so real. It's like, and also like, is this real? Is this a scam? Is this AI? Like,
Yeah.
you don't even know. Where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, finally in person, it's like, okay, this is like an actual human. I
Right.
can vouch like that's real. Like, let's go. Okay, so where are the types of places you approach women most commonly?
So typically I'll have times, like let's say I'm off work, for instance, all right? I'll hit up coffee shops, for instance, and I'll be there for a little bit of time, see if there's any prospects here and there. And then if there's no prospects, I'll go bounce to the next coffee shop and see if there's other
You're
prospects.
intentional.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so let's we all have our
Yeah.
coffee here. So let's do a little role play.
Okay.
Let's say we're at a coffee shop. Maybe there's even two of us. 'Cause that's a common scenario.
Okay.
We are having coffees. How would you approach us?
all right, so let's say it's a group of girls here,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So let's say I'm trying to hit on Allison, okay? So I'll go and approach you guys. Also, I have to read the room too. If you look like you're having fun, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm gonna come up to you guys. If you guys look like you're doing business, then I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
mess
we're
with
having
that.
fun
So-
though. We're girls.
Yeah, you're
we're out
having
and
fun.
about.
So, for instance, I'll be like, hey, y'all look like you're having fun. What are y'all up to? And then I'll just start some small talk here and there. And then I'll ask a question saying, hey, random question. I'm trying to settle a debate here. What's more important on a first date? A guy who can make you laugh or great conversation? And I'll see, like, try to get both of y'all's answers. And then let's say you give me your answer. I'll say, great, I'll
Wait,
remember.
let's see it. Okay, give your answer.
Give me your answer.
You ask the question first.
Hey, I'm trying to settle debate here. What's more important to y'all on a first date? A guy with great conversation or a guy who can make you laugh?
I would say conversation first, because typically good conversation leads to laughter, in my opinion. So a little bit of both, but you got to be able to talk to them about all the things.
Good. I'll remember that whenever I take you out on a date sometime.
I knew he was going to do that. That's a good one, though.
Yeah. I think that's also, I mean, obviously when you walk up to a group of girls like that, or even a single woman, like, she knows why you're trying to talk to her most likely. And,
Right.
but like, that's okay. You don't need to have some like super undercover line or
Right.
approach that she's gonna not know what's happening. Like, it's okay that she knows that you're attracted to her and you want to talk to her. So I like that too. It's just direct and she laughs. How often does that work for you?
I would say it works like half the time because sometimes they're married and everything, so I just
Right.
got to be mindful of that. Or
Half is great. That's
Yeah,
like a
right.
really good odds. You think you have a 50% success rate?
I think I do. Like generally
Damn,
speaking,
Jensen.
like,
Keep it up. 'Cause it sounds
Good though.
Yeah.
Well, because, I mean, like, it's intimidating to approach a group of anyone that you don't know.
intimidating.
But especially if you're a dude by yourself approaching multiple women and you're trying to hit on one specifically. Like, I'm trying to put myself in the reverse scenario of if I saw
Yeah.
a group of dudes and I was into one of them. That's so scary. So
Yeah.
I think like maybe it's a little bit of that too, where the girls are like, wow, this is so cool that he's confident. Like,
Yeah.
I really think men undercut the fact that confidence goes a long way, and it's not like we like the pride or the arrogance behind it. We like that you're sure about something and that you have a goal, you know? And like there's so like the women so often get burned by men that don't want to commit, you know, don't want to be clear about things. So if a man's actually approaching and being clear, that's such a green flag.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not surprised that you at least like get a number off of that a good amount of time, you know?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's really great. Okay. So then you get the number. What's your next move? You text for the follow up.
Yep. So I'll usually text that day. You don't want to just play some games, just text 2 or 3 days later. You want to say, hey.
With you, Jensen.
Right. And this, you just want to say, hey, like, hey, Allison, this is Jensen. I hope you had a great day.
Right.
And then let's say you say something back, and then that's whenever I'm going to get a date set up. So,
Yeah.
so.
Man, I'm like, he's doing all the right things.
Yeah. Well, we heard his top of funnel is fine. So
The top of funnel is good.
Yeah, we got to move down funnel to see
Yeah.
what's maybe getting lost in translation or not going how you like there. Okay, so what's your typical first date?
So in the Metroplex, I have about 2 or 3 plans. So depending on where the girl's at, I run 2 or 3 of the same blueprints every time. Like I go to the same
like that. Rinse and
locations every
repeat.
time.
You know what you like. You know what's good. You take my advice.
I'm picturing the employees at each of those 3 restaurants being like, this guy, another girl, okay.
This dude is back. Okay, so what are your like 2 or 3? You don't have to like give us exact names if you don't want to blow up your spots, but like types of dates.
So typically, I'll either go to we'll just walk around different shops in downtown. Like we'll start off at one place and then like a coffee shop or something. And then we'll walk around the park and then walk around to other little places. So I try to stick to 2 or 3 typically, but no more than 3, but definitely more than 1 for sure.
Yeah.
So that way we're kind of building that connection. We're walking around. It kind of feels like we're having fun in the moment together. And I try to build that rapport with them.
Yeah. What I like about that is that you have so much to talk about because you're looking at things. So you don't get stuck in like a stale environment or like at a bad table. Or if the conversation's bad and it's not going anywhere, like you're still going to have something to talk about because look at your surroundings.
Yeah, absolutely. You can change the subject without really trying to change the subject.
Yeah.
Learn more about the person too. Like, what do they point out about this place? What draws them to certain things? Can probably lead to a lot of different like, how would you want to go to this sometime for a second date?
Yeah, I like that, like teeing up the second date. Do you is it typically daytime or nighttime or a mix?
It's typically going to be late afternoon or nighttime.
Okay.
So typically no earlier than 5 o'clock, but no later than 7 o'clock.
Okay, that's good timing. Something I see men that sometimes can throw men off is they'll do daytime dates, which I'm actually fine with, like a walk or a coffee. My husband and I's first date was a walk, but especially for men who struggle to create romantic connection, if you are doing daytime dates, that's just playing in hard mode in terms of building chemistry and getting things to feel sexy.
Do you think that's literally because it's sunny outside?
It's like sunny and it just doesn't feel sexy. It's
That's
like
true.
bright, you know, like
Like I can see your pores right now.
yeah,
What's going
exactly.
on?
Where like if there's mood lighting, like whether or not you have a cocktail, it's like the appropriate time for a cocktail. It's like a little easier to like set the scene and like also like have some light PDA, like a hand on the knee, a hand on the shoulder without it feeling like it's like the middle of the day and everyone sees that.
Right, yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I like your evening dates. Okay, so far we're good. Tell us more, because sometimes it sounds like a lot of these first dates aren't leading to second dates when you really like her, right?
Right.
So let's say you're on a date, things are going well, you've walked around the Metroplex, you're having good conversation, you're mid-date. How are you thinking about wrapping things up and asking for the second date?
So typically, as we're getting towards the end, I'll ask her, hey, where did you park? So that way it kind of weeds out that awkward thing of, hey, I got to get going, or hey, what are you doing after this? So I just start off saying, hey, where did you park? So right after I say that, then she's like, oh, I'm over here. I'm like, okay, let's go walk. So at that point, I'm walking. We're walking to wherever she parks because I'm trying to make sure she gets over there safely. And then after that, I'm just like, hey, it was really nice talking to you. Let's call it a night. But hey, text me when you get home. So, and then sometimes they'll text me when they get home.
Oh, wait. We're not to the text yet.
not-
Okay, so you
okay.
walk her to her car.
Yes,
Is
yeah.
there a kiss? Is there a hug? What's going on with the sign off?
So typically, I'll try to go for the kiss, whether it's on the cheek or on the lips, but only if it feels right, though. But if not, then I'll just go for a simple hug, because sometimes I can read that body language and tell if she's feeling it or not. So I don't want to jump in too quickly and just not be able to scare her away. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So you read the room, sometimes hug, sometimes kiss. How often do you feel like you're going for the kiss?
I would say most of the time I am.
Okay, that's pretty good. How do you feel about kissing on a first date, Allison?
It really depends. It really depends on how comfortable I am. I don't think I've ever had someone misread the room. I would say I'm appreciative when they don't go for it on the first date. Like if I gave any signal of like, hey, let's wait.
Yeah.
But I've never been upset that someone went for a kiss on the first date.
Do you ever ask first?
I typically don't. I can just sort of tell by the way her body's interacting with mine and the way she's looking at me. I can almost immediately tell, but most of the time it seems like it was right to go for the kiss, and then there's that.
Okay. So. Okay. Yeah. I feel like this is controversial. Some people agree, some people disagree. I personally think if you're not sure whether or not a kiss is appropriate, ask or rather state. So when let's say you get to her car, you aren't entirely sure, you feel like the signs are there, but like there hasn't been a lot of maybe there wasn't a lot of opportunities for physical touch. The vibe is, somewhat romantic. You can still look her in the eyes and say like, I would really like to kiss you right now, as a statement rather than a question.
I actually really agree with that. I've had someone say that to me before, and it actually makes it more exciting because you're like, oh my God, I was also reading it correctly.
Yeah.
Because girls aren't going to say it, but they are questioning, is he actually vibing with me as much as I am with him? And like we get just as insecure. So like, I prefer clarity at this point. I mean, I'm also 30, so I'm like, just tell me what's going on. Like,
No games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of make that sexy too, in a way, like I'm going to kiss you now, or I really want to kiss you right now. Like you can tell right away if she wants you to do it or not, just by her face.
And it's an opportunity for her to be like, oh, I actually don't kiss on the first date.
Exactly.
And it's not awkward.
And it's an easy out for her. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say you get a kiss, you tell her to text you when she gets home. Then what typically happens?
Then I'll typically send a text either like that next, like the late morning or so, the following day, and I'll recall something that we talked about on our first date or something like that stuck out.
Yeah.
So I'll say, hey, I'm still thinking about whenever you told me that story last night, still laughing about that story you told me.
Yeah.
What does your schedule look like next Tuesday? I'd like to put your mini golf skills to the test.
Love that.
So let's say we talked about mini golf, like, and we're just kind of teasing about how we're competitive about that. Then I'll recall that and try to use that for our second date.
We love a good callback. That's like in comedy.
Yeah, no, that's like the number one skill in comedy. If you can nail a callback, the audience will love you forever.
Yeah.
That's just a human
Dating
trait.
and comedy. Yeah. Get your callback straight. Okay, but then what happens? Because you said oftentimes with the women you really like, let's say you thought the date went well, she's a hottie, you had a kiss, and then what does she say? Where's the drop-off happening there?
So typically that's pretty much like she'll text me when she gets home, all right? And then I'll request to set up a second date, and then I don't hear anything back. Ghosted.
Like a lot of the time?
So I'd say most of the time it's been getting ghosted, but there's a few times here and there where it's like I'll get a text saying, hey, this probably isn't the best.
Where they at least explain.
Right.
And what's the reason?
They just say, hey, I just don't think we're the best match for each other. I don't see this going anywhere.
The romantic connection?
Yep, absolutely.
That damn romantic connection.
So weird. The chemistry thing is so like difficult to try and describe to people too. I mean, I don't know. I'm so curious like about just like I think women like to be a little bit more mysterious with stuff like that. It really makes me sad that they'll just ghost and not respond after all of those different things. I think that's just like a level of immaturity. So probably a sign that you didn't need to date her anyway.
It probably happens to me about 75% of the time.
Holy shit.
It's probably there's definitely a big percentage. So, yeah.
Okay, we're going to need to unpack this a little bit more. 75% is high. 75% of the dates or 75% of the times you don't get a second date, the woman ends up ghosting.
Oh, I'd say it's the 75%. When I don't get a second date, 75% of the time, roughly, that they ghost.
This is terrible one of those things where terrible manners. I'm like, you wouldn't treat your friends like that. Like, even if I had met someone and was like, oh, I'm just hanging out with this person as a friend for the first time, you'd respond the next day. I don't understand why we're treating people that we want to be with romantically worse than like friends and acquaintances.
Well, clearly she doesn't want to be with him romantically, but you were exploring that like human decency.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I feel like those are like two things that came out of the pandemic was like inability to approach people in person and acceptance of just lack of communication and ghosting like being a norm.
I think it's because we're so online now, like, because you can just block someone on the internet and never hear from them again. So like, I'm just not going to respond to this guy that I met in person.
I will say I do believe that anybody who ghosts, it's like you were better off without them. Like if that's how that person treats others or like thinks is appropriate communication, then like they weren't, worthy of your time.
I do have a question actually. When you're going on the first date, are you broaching any of those subjects? Like what are you looking for long term, or is that too heavy for a first date? Like I'm always curious about that.
So I'll ask a question, maybe not too direct like that, but I'll kind of sprinkle it in if the moment feels right, because I don't want to get too overly serious on the first date, because it's the first date. We should be having fun and asking her about like, hey, what are some things you're passionate about, and try to have a good laugh about that. So I try not to like get too deep. Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
This and that. I'm trying to get married like yesterday.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to like come off too strong in that way.
Yeah. I'm just always curious, like, why, like, if you didn't even broach the, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Like, I'm literally just trying to get to know you, you know?
Yeah.
Should at least be able to, like, interact with the person again.
Yeah. Are there any other things that you feel like might be unique to you on a first date that could be, I don't know, I don't want to say scaring women off, but like the women that you're most excited about are like, oh, like, I think he's not for me for a specific reason?
I don't know. I guess it's like, I guess when it comes to making the moves, like the romantic things, sometimes like either I don't make the move at all, or if I do make it, they may not be ready for it. So it's kind of a mix of, you know, trying to play my cards safe or maybe going too strong. So maybe it might put them off. So these are things I've been intrinsically working on myself.
Yeah.
So
which way do you, because I mean, those are obviously going into strong. I mean, here's the thing. If she's into you, and you're, you know, being appropriate on a first date, it's probably not the too strong issue that's leading to the lack of chemistry. What I see time and time again, especially with oftentimes guys who are very smart. I mean, you work in aerospace.
I was gonna say, you seem like you have your stuff together.
Yeah, but sometimes what that can result in is like, you know, the I's to dot and the T's to cross, so you know exactly what to do, but maybe it's not coming off as like relaxed and like flowing as it could, and like flirtatious as it could, even though you're doing the right things. And so the women that you like the most are going to probably be the women that most guys like the most beautiful, the most like interesting, the most like fun to be around. So they're going to have the highest standards for like who they want a second date with. So if you are falling short in like the fun or flirty or chemistry category, you're going to hear like, oh, no, thanks, not for me, more often from than from other women. So what I'm thinking is maybe there's an opportunity to be more fun and flirty and try and like get some of that chemistry flowing throughout the date.
Do you think that like having the same game plan over and over again could be like hindering in a little way? Like, I don't want to say like making you feel scripted in some ways, but I've been on first dates before. I'm like, oh, I know this guy has said this to 20 other women. I don't want to see him again. Like,
what do you think, Jensen?
It sounds.
I've heard that one before. But.
It sounds. It's so picky. It's so nitpicky, and like this is a thing that I don't like about women, but like, or maybe I don't like about me. But it's true. Like if I don't feel like I'm special to him, I'm like, I don't want to. Oh, you just asked me out because you could ask me out. It was an opportunistic thing, and even though that's not true, that's like a thing that we tell ourselves sometimes. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Allison Armstrong. She's one of my favorite psychology studier people. She like studies the difference between how men and women think. And one of the things she talks about with women is they don't just want to feel special to their guy. They want to feel like the most. Like, oh, I'm the most beautiful woman to you. I'm the most interesting woman to you. I'm the most. And it's like, to guys that doesn't really make sense because like, no, you are amazing. You're this, you're that. But I also still think she's hot, you know?
Yeah.
But for us to feel safe, we like genuinely want the guy that we're with to be like, she's the best. She's all this. She's all that. And I don't know if you're doing the same dates over and over again, especially, I know I made a joke about it earlier, like the employees recognizing you at the restaurants or whatever, but like if that's actually a thing that's happening, they might be picking up on that, being like, oh, he's taking 10 other girls here, you know?
Interesting.
That's
what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
On what you said, so I think, so here's a question I do have, all right? So you mentioned how you want to make a woman feel beautiful, this and that. How do you balance between that and love bombing and just showing too much interest in the beginning? Because I don't want to feel like I'm coming off in that way and scaring them off. But at the same time, I do want to make sure that they are feeling special on this date. So where do you kind of find that differential line?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm single too, man.
Okay, I have some thoughts here. So I think a really good way to make her feel special is to give genuine compliments. So something I see guys getting wrong is they're just complimenting to compliment because someone has told them that they should. So it's like, okay, you have very beautiful eyes, or you look really nice. And it's like, those are good compliments, but if you are just like reciting them because you think you should, it is going to come off that way. Women are astute readers of nonverbal communication. So it's like, even like what you're not saying or how you, sorry, let me like retake that. Women are really good at understanding your underlying intent. So if your intent is just to flatter her because like you want to get a second date or you want her to feel special, that's not going to come across as authentic as if it would if it was a genuine compliment. So look for something that is actually unique to her, something that you actually appreciate, not just like, oh, I know I'm going to use this compliment, and tell her that. So maybe she has really unique like green eyes. Like, you might say something like, wow, you have beautiful green eyes. I've never seen like flecks of gold like that before. Or you have incredible style. Like, do you collect sneakers? Like, I've noticed like when we met and today you're wearing both times you've been wearing sneakers. Something that other people aren't just going to notice and say for the sake of saying it.
I really like that, actually. I'm thinking about like even just friends that are good at giving compliments. And that's always what they do. They'll pick out like a specific thing that I'm wearing and be like, you're rocking that jacket today. And I was like, thanks, girl, like, which is great. But that's a really good way to walk that line of like, I wouldn't feel love bombed if a man said that to me, but I would be like, oh, he's actually paying attention and he wants to like get to know me on a deeper level. And I appreciate that.
And I think, where you are in the relationship, like, indicates a different level of appropriateness for a compliment or for interest. Like if you're on a first date, it's not appropriate to be like planning a trip to Japan in 6 months. That's love bombing, or like saying like, wow, like you're like the most incredible woman I've ever met. Like too much. That's like,
on the
not
first
it.
date, I call bullshit.
Something like, wow, like you have like, you're a great storyteller, like, or I find it really attractive how passionate you are about your dog, or like whatever it is. Those are appropriate levels of interest for a first date.
And I feel like I give those genuine compliments. I don't just compliment them on their looks. I find something that stands out. Like, so for instance, let's say I meet a girl for the first time, all right? I'll first of all greet them with a hug. That's something I always do. And then I'll say, hey, I really like that shirt, by the way. Compliment them on something unique that they chose to wear for that date. So I do generally try to give unique compliments, but I don't know. Sometimes they just don't always land into second dates. You know what I'm saying? Or third dates, perhaps.
A slight tweak on that, like instead of I really like that shirt, you could say like that shirt looks really good on you.
Okay.
That's just like
make it more personal.
Yeah, it's like a subtle difference, but something that makes her feel sexy and appreciated, because like she wants to think you find her attractive. Like a small nuance tip.
Absolutely.
And then, okay, so I know you oftentimes go for the kiss at the end of the date, which we love. What about the build up to the kiss? Are you finding ways to insert physicality throughout the date leading up?
Yep. So like I just said, I start off giving a hug first to initiate, hey, we're on a date right now. This is not just a business meeting.
Yeah.
So I give the hug first, and then I hold the door open for her, and then I gently touch her back to guide her into the door. And then as we're by the menu, I just do another little shoulder tap saying, hey, what looks good for you? I'll order it for you. So at that point, I'm ordering her drink first, and then I'm going to order mine next. And then after that, after the spot we picked up on, because I usually get there about 30 minutes early to make sure we get a good spot and good parking and everything. So right after I have our spot set up, I guide us to our spot and then wait for them to call our name out. And then as we're laughing and joking, I gently will touch her shoulder, like when something funny happens. And then eventually I slowly lead up to touching the knee or even more physical contact. So
okay, great. It sounds like you're doing a good job of the physical contact prior to the kiss, because that's something guys get wrong. Is like, they're sitting with their hands in their lap, like not touching, not touching, not touching, and then you go for the kiss, and like that feels awkward.
Right.
I actually really like that advice, because I'm thinking back to like any time I've been on a first date and not wanted to kiss them at the end, it's because we didn't I hugged you at the beginning and then that was it. I'm not physically comfortable with someone that is like that.
Yeah, you have to build up towards it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And Jensen, what are you looking for in a partner? Like, what is it that you really want to find?
So I'd say intrinsically, I want someone who is going to be nurturing, someone who's kind and wants to be a good mother one day, like truly like has those kind instincts and brings peace to the home. That's something big for me. And I'd say as far as things to do, like someone who takes care of herself pretty well, goes to the gym, because I'm pretty serious about my fitness, so I want a girl who's as serious about that as me. So that's also part of the core value aspect as well. So things like that. What someone who wants to live on acres of property. So
farm life.
Yeah.
Are you approaching women at the gym ever? I'm so curious about the culture of this because I feel like it was a big no-no for a while, and now I think it's not anymore.
So when I was at a bigger gym, like just your typical community gym, I would approach once in a blue moon, but I haven't been there in over a couple of years.
Yeah.
But because I go to a very small gym, like these people are basically like my friends, so it's not really like that, you know what I'm saying? It's more like, hey, I'm gonna see you like all the time. We're all in class, we do things together. So
there's a lot of those in Austin now. I feel like the gym's kind of branched off a little more. Now they're all little friend groups and families.
Yeah.
What I need to do is kind of branch out and hit up a Pilates class sometime.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like you should try some workout classes, like not at gyms, but at like studios, like Barry's or Pilates or yoga. I met my husband at the gym. We met at a workout class.
I love that.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan. Approach at the gym. It can be done, but you just have to do it respectfully. And if it's a gym where like an open floor gym, it makes it much harder because there's not a natural start and stop time. Like you can't approach somebody when they're on the treadmill.
Yeah, you have to watch them get off of their equipment.
Yeah, and then like make your move. Like it's really hard to time it correctly. But if it's a class, like before class people are hanging out, after class people are hanging out. So it's natural to chat to someone like, what do you think of class? Did you like that instructor? Do you come here? Like, do you take a lot of Pilates classes? Whatever it may be. It's like you have a lot of natural points of conversation. And like being fit, yeah, why not get to those classes? Look at those biceps. I see those. Give us a flex.
Hide them under the t-shirt.
Yeah, damn. So what do you think about that? Like trying some more workout classes and stuff?
I think that would be pretty beneficial. I can kind of branch out and get out of the comfortable environment that I'm used to being in and just kind of have that fresh perspective and that fresh light of things. So that's something that would probably help me.
You said you take dance classes too?
I do a couple times a month, and that's another way of approaching people as well.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that would be so...
Yeah, tell us about that. What type of dance?
So typically it'll be country swing dancing classes, two-step dancing classes.
I grew up two-stepping, and
Really?
I think that's like such a good social setting because you're inherently like everyone says yes to dance with you pretty much. So that's such an easy intro.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So typically they'll have like the classes, and then like the classes are about an hour, then there's just like a social afterwards. So that's when you can mingle and meet all kinds of different people. So that also allows me to gauge like, okay, did I enjoy dancing with this person and conversating with them? And if I didn't, then I'll probably just wait a few extra times, like talk to them again to build more rapport, or if I really enjoy talking to them, like I'll continue to talk to them more, get their number, and maybe set up a date. But this allows me to see, like, do I enjoy speaking with them? Do I actually want to continue to see them on a date? So
yeah, I feel like that's actually a great way to test chemistry is dancing together. Because like, I mean, you don't have to like have a good rhythm or dance to like, that's not necessarily going to indicate whether there's a successful future or not. But are you laughing? Like if you do step on each other's toes, is it silly and playful?
Right.
Like,
Can you joke it off? Yeah, for sure. And that's also another way to showcase your confidence. Like that's one of like the easiest ways to impress me is like if someone's a good lead in a dancing, because for women, especially today, it's so difficult for us to like let the guy lead sometimes. And dancing is literally the physical embodiment of like let the man lead. And it's really fun for us once he's actually good at dancing.
so true. Being a good dancer. Are you good?
I'm not. I'll let you be the judge of that.
Well, actually, you guys are both dancers.
Oh yeah, we'll
Maybe you
test
should
it out
do
after
a follow-up, see how you're leading, whether you're needing dips or spins, what you got up your sleeve. Yeah, I think being a good dancer, I talk about this a lot. If you aren't a good dancer, I'm not saying you need to be like a professional level or ballroom dancer, but like take some dance classes. So when you go to a wedding, when you're out at a concert, you have a little bit of rhythm. You have even one or two moves that you can confidently execute on. And women are going to find that so attractive.
It makes you so much more attractive. And also like, it's just so funny. Like I two-step quite a lot in town and it's so funny to me to watch. It's typically like the computer engineers and like the guys that I know are not confident with women outside of dancing, but then you get them on the dance floor and they are ripping it up. Like I think that's so fun. And like a lot of my guy friends that don't go dancing, I'm like, I don't want to hear about it that you're single if you're not taking 2-step lessons.
I love that. If you're single, take 2-step lessons, learn to dance.
Or
it will
any
pay
dance.
off.
Yeah.
Any dance.
Like
yeah.
it's an excuse for you to talk to a girl and then show something off.
It's funny because I saw an Instagram reel one time that said, if you're single, he said this, like, I've seen guys pick up the best chicks when they look like a thumb with hair because they know how to dance.
Yeah, literally.
It can make up for a lot. Like that's same with being funny. What that comes down to is confidence.
My life.
Like you have to be funny. Like if you are funny, you are probably fairly confident. If you are a good dancer, like you've become confident in that field. And it's hard to state how important confidence is in dating. Mm-hmm. It really can't be overstated.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because it's one of those things too where it's like, if you don't believe in yourself, why should I? As rude as that sounds.
Absolutely.
I think men feel the same way with women to a certain extent. It's like if she's constantly beating herself up, you don't want to keep having to come save her and make her feel better all the time, you know?
Yeah. Yep. It definitely goes both ways, but I think it's even more important for men early on.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether or not they're gonna...
It's like associated with machismo or something.
Yeah.
Our monkey brains are still into it.
Yeah, well, because also if you're not into yourself, why is she gonna be into you? Like especially if she doesn't know you, her only inputs for like what to think about you are what you think about yourself. So if it's clear that you don't think highly of yourself, then like there's just no possible way she's going to.
Yeah, if you're unconfident and she's got a bad dating history, she's gonna be like, I don't trust this guy instantly. Like
totally.
She's gonna project all that stuff from the past guys.
I have a note here that maybe you do have an interesting dating story, something about at a bar, an ID.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. My brain's going a million different ways. Please tell me she was of age.
Gosh. So
please.
she was around my age.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was out, all right? And then meet this girl there, okay?
Where, at a bar?
Yeah, it was at a place. It was at a bar. And then so things are going pretty well between us, all right? And then eventually things are going much better, and then we end up in the back of my truck, all right?
Yes.
How do you ask that? Like you leave the bar, you're like, hey, you want to get out of here, and then you just make it to your truck?
Well, you have to build rapport first. Like you have to, you're not just gonna do it to someone that you just meet. Like
he's being very Texan right now, by the way. This is like every country song.
Okay, yeah. So you have your boots on, you're at the 2-stepping bar, you meet the girl, you mention you have a truck. Okay,
like, let's go look at the stars, babe.
So we end up back there, all right, and then eventually afterwards, like we part ways. She goes home.
I think okay, wait. So you ask, like, I am like curious, like, are you just like, hey, like, let's go to my truck, or are you acting like you guys are gonna leave together and you just don't leave, you just stay in the truck?
We stayed in the truck, all right?
Okay.
So, because she lived like an hour away, I lived an hour away, so...
What are you guys doing at a bar an hour from your houses? That seems like absurd. I guess Dallas is big.
I was gonna say, he kept saying Dallas Metro, so yeah. I'm assuming you're getting around.
Oh, yeah, so...
You're like, okay, home is too far, let's just do this here.
Yes, like, we're both... So that place we went to was a neutral site. So if I go to her place, like, it's going to be 2 hours away. She goes over, it's 2 hours away, so...
The truck is the neutral site.
It's basic, yeah.
What kind of truck do you have? Is it a big back seat?
I was going to say, well, trucks have beds, baby.
Well...
Portable bed, let's go.
At the time, it was an F-150. Now I got a GMC Denali.
There you go.
Okay.
So, but the F-150 at the time, so...
Okay, spacious.
They're both spacious. Let's just say that. Story. So at this point, whenever things are done, I end up not hearing back from her. Okay.
So you get her number.
I have her number.
Okay.
All right. And I'm reaching out to her, like, and then hear nothing back. Okay. So that was on a Saturday night, and then later on,
you text her like, that was fun. Like, I'd love to take you out. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like the next day, I said that.
Crickets.
Heard nothing. Crickets. So on a Thursday, like several days later, I'm cleaning out my vehicle, and I see her driver's license in the back.
Okay.
Yes. So at that point, I have to say something.
Yeah. Like, this girl needs her ID.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, she doesn't live there anymore, because I knew that because she told me she had just moved to another place. So
you can't even like drop it off.
No,
Right.
I can't even
Can't
do
mail
that.
it
So
to her.
I reached out saying, hey, you left this in my truck and I need to give this to you ASAP. So we agreed to meet up the following day at a neutral site so I can return her license. But whether I want to go out with her again, I don't know because I heard crickets, but I just want to get this thing off of my hands.
Yeah.
So I show up to the place. I wait around for over an hour, nothing. A complete no-show.
What? She made plans. She said, yes, I'll be there at this time. And then she no-showed?
No-showed. A complete no-show.
And did you text her? Were you like, I'm here? Like,
I did.
crickets?
Multiple times. Crickets.
And I know you drove probably like an hour or something to get back to that neutral place.
Oh, an hour
Yeah.
to that. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I did. So,
Oh my God. And then what happened?
nothing. I just went home. Like I told some of the employees like my situation. I was venting about my situation, this and that to the employees, and
Were they lamenting with you? Like, was it like, oh God, this girl?
Yeah,
Did you
like-
leave her ID there in case she like showed up there? Or you just like took it with you again?
I just took it with me, and then because I don't want it to get in the hands of someone who's gonna be like shady and
I
do
guess,
some-
yeah, like
something
steal
with
her
that.
identity.
Absolutely. So
Yeah, that's like a huge risk that she took on
Yeah.
ghosting you with her ID. You could have stolen her identity.
Wait,
It's
so
like
then,
if you were a bad person,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
and so like, did you ever find out why?
So I actually did end up doing a scouting report on her on Facebook.
As one
and-
does.
Right. And it turns out, so I figured out why she ghosted me. It's because she's had a boyfriend for over 10 years.
Oh.
So I figured that out. Like,
Dox her. No, I'm kidding.
so
That's crazy.
You know, if the tables were turned and that was a guy who did that to a woman, she for sure would have outed him on
Oh yeah,
TikTok.
she would have been like,
Here's his ID.
I'm not gonna say his name, but it rhymes with this, and she'll say exactly her first and last name. And just, oh my God, yeah, that's crazy.
So what did you just? That was just for your own personal benefit, and you never did anything with that information.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
I wouldn't get involved there, but that's crazy. And yeah, tables were turned. That would have ended very differently
Yep.
for a guy if you had done that to somebody.
yeah, you were super nice about that.
And you just never heard from her again.
Never heard
I guess
from
she
her.
just figured easier to like order a new ID.
That's what I was thinking.
And what's crazy is I reached out to her actually 6 months after that to give her another chance to get your information, and then I'll never speak to you again, okay?
Wait, why you were gonna mail it to her or something?
Well, I just reached out saying, hey, I still have your information, and if you would like to get it, you can get it. But at that point, I was just going to give it to her and then just part ways for good. At this point, I'm not
She
even...
had a new address. You probably just ordered a new ID.
Yeah,
That's
probably
like you're
did.
really going above and beyond to return this.
But then again, it's like, do you really want some random person? Thankfully, like, I'm not a shady person,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to do anything with that information. But you don't, but you never know. Like, if I was in her shoes, even though regardless that I ordered a new identification, I would still want that old one back because you could still do something to it.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
like cut it up. I don't know. I'd just like tell you like go ahead and like snip that.
Yeah, I would at least respond to him and be like, "Can you cut it up and send me
Yeah,
a photo?"
I'm so sorry.
Like, yeah.
But I guess like the initial ghosting of that is like, I mean, maybe she, like to make the plan, just like don't make the plan. Be like, yeah, toss it.
Yeah, that's just. I guess she maybe didn't want you to find out about the boyfriend because there
Yeah,
is
but
the
also-
risk of you reaching out to him.
If she just met and gotten the ID back and been like, I'm actually
would've-
not interested, then you wouldn't have even stalked her on Facebook and found out she has in a 10-year relationship.
Maybe because I'm so fast to stalk someone online, so maybe she thought you had already stalked her, and she was like, "He knows about my boyfriend. Da 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 da. He's probably mad." Like maybe she made up a whole story. This is me playing devil's advocate. 100%. What she did was shitty. She should not have ghosted you, but maybe she literally was like, "He knows I have a boyfriend. He's mad at me. This is a trap." I don't know, or maybe she just decided it wasn't worth the hour drive, and she was gonna risk it all with her
Bizarre behavior.
Yeah.
identification.
Bizarre behavior. Have you been on any other interesting dates recently?
Gosh, so I'd say the most interesting date I've ever been on. So I approached this girl at a coffee shop, okay? She was wearing a dress. She had a name tag on. I didn't think much of it. She looked like she was just doing some work. So we had good conversations. She was being friendly with me. I was being friendly with her. And then she asked me for my number, okay?
Yeah.
So
you're like, I'm in.
Extra
I was like,
green,
yeah,
yeah.
like I'm in. Let's do this. So the next day I set up a date to go meet up for coffee, all right? So as I go to meet up for coffee, okay, she brings 3 other people with her, and they circle me around and try to recruit me into their cult. Their religious cult. Yes. Because
you just thought you were going on a date, and then she shows up with
a few other people like surrounding me. It's another guy and then 2 other girls. I think that's what it was. So they just surround me and just start asking me questions and try to recruit me.
Was this in Austin, Texas? Because this sounds very Austin coded.
Oh, it was where I was at.
It was in Dallas? Yes. Oh my God, it's bad everywhere.
So I thought I was going on a date because like she did not tell me like I like we agree like, hey, we're meeting at this place, right? Yeah, we are. Few other people trying to trap me and recruit. It was probably the worst.
Did they tell you about the cult? Like, what was their like MO?
Yeah, they were telling me about this. Like, hey, what are your beliefs? And this is what we believe. This is this, and here's some pamphlets that we have. Each of them like took turns, including the girl I was on a date with, quote unquote.
How long did this date last?
It was probably 30 minutes to an hour, maybe less. Like
you're
somewhere.
So much nicer than me. I
was in shell shock. Like, what is going on?
I would have been like, are you trying to traffic me right now? Yeah. What's happening?
Was there any part of you that considered joining the cult?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, fair enough. So, I wonder how often that works for them.
Well, she had to she reached out to me like another time after that, and I had to block her number. So
yeah, that
she,
seems like an
give up.
Odd letting tactic.
Yeah.
Like, let's let these guys hit on me and then wear my name tag.
I don't know. It might work from time to time if you'd been like a little lonelier and more susceptible to cult tactics.
If you really needed some friends. Man.
You never know. Okay, so that is a wild one. And so there was no second date, no joining the cult.
Absolutely not. No, that's...
Did they try to offer you candy? I'm trying to think. Did they offer you drugs? Yeah. Like
around the corner. How long ago was that?
That was about 1.5 years ago.
Okay. So coffee shops you're spending a lot of time at coffee shops. Where else do you approach women?
So obviously after the dance lessons and stuff like that, and then sometimes it'll be at the grocery store, and then I'll also have my Hinge profile as well. So I'm also meeting girls.
Oh yeah,
I think we should look at that. But I have a note here that you maybe frequent grocery stores quite often to meet women.
Yeah, so I'll give you the spiel on that, okay? So in my grocery run, I'm not going to buy everything in one go, okay? Let's say I'm going to buy fruit on this day, then I'm going to buy drinks this day, and then I'm going to buy bread this day. So this gives me multiple opportunities to go out and about and have more approach opportunities.
Oh,
evil genius.
My God, he's calculated. This is crazy. Wait, I go to the grocery, like I'm one of the people that first of all, I live a little out of town. So it's like 25 minutes to the closest HEB. So like, I only want to go once a week max if I can help it. But that's crazy. Maybe I just go every day and get a different thing.
That's literally what you do. Do you feel like you approach someone every time you go?
Not every time, but this allows me to build opportunities to see if there's someone I'm interested in.
Yeah. So, where do you do your grocery shopping?
I go to HEB or Kroger usually.
Okay.
So yeah, Dallas has Kroger. Forgot about that.
Not a Whole Foods guy?
I don't have one near me, actually. It's like 30 minutes away. So.
Okay. So you got to work with what you've got.
Yeah.
And then what's your line at the grocery store?
I'm typically pretty direct. So the same line I use, like whether I'm at a coffee shop or at the grocery store, I say, hey, how are you? Good. And then I just start sparking conversations like, hey, I thought you were really attractive and I just want to come introduce myself. Mm-hmm. And then I let her say her name, okay? Mm-hmm. And then she'll say her name. And then the way I see it is if she asks for my name back, then that means she's interested. And if she doesn't ask my name back, then she's not interested. So that's something I have learned over my time.
Okay.
And that way I can just build conversations. And then if something works out, then we go on a date.
That's how you test the waters, like is she. But I also feel like sometimes people just like, especially if they're nervous about being approached, their manners are like, even like the common next question in conversation can slip their mind and they might not ask. But yeah. I guess it's like a good test also of like how with it is she?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good, like, you're really good at reading the subtleties overall. I would say, like, the problem I run into sometimes is I'm overly nice. So, like, if someone, even if I wasn't interested in them, approached me at the grocery store and was like, I thought you were really attractive. I just want to introduce myself. What's your name? I'd be like, hi, my name's Allison. I would automatically just be like, what's your name?
Would you give your number?
No.
What would you say?
I would probably just say I appreciate it, but I'm not interested. I try to be pretty direct. Like,
Yeah.
And the more men that I talk to, I just broke your mic. The more men that I talk to, I realize that direct is not common for a lot of the women. Like, I don't know. I prioritize clarity and communication. So I don't mind telling someone I'm not interested, but
Yeah. What's your post-date text if you're not interested?
I'll just say like, hey, I really appreciated, the date and stuff, and I had a good time, but I just don't think this is I don't think this is a romantic fit. And I mean, for me, like if there's something specific that I can actually point out that like maybe he can improve on, like if he did something that was outrageous, then I might even say like this made me uncomfortable. But usually I'll just say this isn't a fit.
Like what has happened in the past that you've like called out?
Well, the last Hinge date that I went on, he pointed out another Hinge match of his at the restaurant and then
No
proceeded
way.
to tell me he slept with someone that I know. So yeah.
What?
On the first date.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, he was like, oh yeah, that girl over there.
He literally, like, I was in the middle of telling, like, I'm him
Yeah.
and you're me telling the story. He was engaged with me, and then I just see his eyes do this, and he goes, oh no. Like, he just completely
Did not play
clocked
it
out
cool
and, like,
at all.
did not play it cool at all. And I was like, what? And I kind of looked behind me, like, whatever. And he's like, nothing, don't make it weird. And I was like, you made it weird. I was telling a story.
I'm not
Like, you
making
got to
it.
tell me now. And he was just like, I'm so sorry. There's another Hinge match of mine here. And I think she clocked me too. And I was like, we're all on Hinge.
Yeah.
You can just play it cool. Like, I don't care that another match is here, but don't point her out to me. And then use that as the lead in to tell me you slept with someone I know.
That's so.
That's
how did that even lead
unreal.
into like,
Welcome
him,
to Austin.
How did that even lead to him being like, oh yeah, by the way, I should tell you I've slept with like your friend?
Boy logic, boy math. I don't know. Just ask. Yeah, I guess he was like, oh, since we're on the subject of other people that we know, do you know this person, by the way? I don't even know how he
What?
figured out I knew that person, because
And
it's
he was
not
just
like
like,
it's
oh, yeah,
one of my best friends.
I've slept
but-
with her.
Yeah, well, he was like, oh, he goes, do you know this person? And I go, did you sleep with her? Like, I could tell. Like,
Yeah.
again,
a little thought bubble above his head.
I'm pretty good at reading people, and I'm straight to the point, clear communicator if I can be. So as soon as he's like, by the way, do you know so-and-so? I was like, why'd you sleep with her? And I just saw the face. And he goes, oh, let me tell the story. And I was like, I don't need the story.
Yeah, what? Let me tell the
Oh,
story.
he did tell the story.
What was the story? Was it a good story?
No.
I was like, yeah. I
But
texted
the end
this
of
girl,
the story was I slept with her. And I was like, okay, great. I'm not going on
like-
another date with you.
Saw your Instagram and like.
We would have been mutuals, yeah. Like, he would have noticed that she and I follow each other.
And
But
so
yeah.
then, when did he text you for a second date?
Yeah.
And you were like, no, for XYZ reasons.
yeah, I just was like, this made me really uncomfortable. Like,
What did he say?
he just was like, that's fair, but also like, you got to give me some credit that at least I was honest, which is true. But that's also like, I still don't need to see you again.
Yeah, and like honesty.
You slept with someone that is kind of tangentially in my friend group. Like, I'm not, yeah.
Whereas like if that had happened, even if he like saw you were mutual friends on Instagram, like plausible deniability, like there's no need to proactively bring that up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's not even like you're dating. You went on a first date. It wouldn't have probably been a problem if you found out later and you already really liked him.
It wouldn't
and
have
so
been.
what?
Because I talked to that girl about it like a month or two after I went on the date, and she was like, I forgot I even went out with that guy too. So like, had things worked out with us,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have really been a big deal probably, but like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awkward.
Yeah. But yeah, I was straight up. It's like, this was weird. Why would you say that?
I like that. We need more direct communication. You need more direct communication. If these girls would just tell you what you were doing that was weird on the dates, you would know. I'm just kidding. I don't think you're doing anything quite like that.
I think people are more likely to be avoidant than ever too. Like, I've been noticing that. I mean, I also do a lot of self-analysis for me when I'm out there trying to date, and it is so much easier to just cut someone off early before you get attached. And like, I don't know, it's personal fear. It's all, all the stuff you've dealt with before. Like, if the idea of the ick has really permeated, even if you, like, I never use that phrase, but I think women especially are so willing to just pick one ick or like one little thing that they didn't like and be like, never mind, toss out the whole man. And it's like, no one's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also when you meet somebody online and you don't have overlapping social circles, it's easier to just be like, okay, out of sight, out of mind, I'm going to unmatch them. I'm not going to respond to this and I never have to see them again. Where if, rewind before dating apps, if you met through friends or even at your neighborhood watering hole or, in class, like you're going to see this person again. So you have to address it.
Yeah.
Speaking of dating apps, should we take a look at yours?
You can if you want to.
Oh my gosh, we get to do a Hinge breakdown, profile analysis.
Yes.
I love this. I've had a couple of guy friends ask me to analyze their profiles, and they're always surprised at like what I think they should change.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I got into dating coaching, was because I started looking at my guy friends' profiles, and I'm like, wait, you're such an awesome guy. How do you not get matches? And then I look at their profiles like, oh, I see. I see the
It's
problem.
4 selfies. No.
Okay, wait. Okay, let's look at this together. That's cute. First pick. Let's turn up the brightness so we can see what's going on. I don't know that I love that as the first pick, but it certainly has a place in the profile.
Definitely.
I think. You have a suit on. You look very dapper. Nice smile. Choose our first date. Waltzing in the stockyards, drinks and a walk, mini golf. I like having the
Coffee or beer as the drinks. I
yeah.
like that too, because I don't really like alcohol, and there's so many people that are like, we have to go get a drink. I'm like, I don't want a drink.
yeah.
That's good.
And this is just an easy like voting situation, so it makes it really easy for her to respond. Okay, I love 2 truths and a lie. I'm featured in a rap song. Got a little typo there. You need to remove that.
Oh yes, fix the typos for sure.
I have been to 3 countries. I ran a half marathon.
I think the countries one's a lie.
I think you haven't. Actually, why would you say rap song if you haven't? Maybe the country ones is the lie. What's the lie?
What's the lie?
Yeah.
3 countries.
Yeah.
I knew it.
How many
You've been
countries
to
have
more.
you been to?
2.
2. I thought you went to more. I was giving you the
What 2
benefit of the
countries
doubt.
have you been to?
Canada and USA.
America.
Okay. My only hesitation about that 2 truths and a lie. I mean, how often are women guessing that?
I feel like they get it right 99% of the time.
Really?
Yes.
Well, and also, wait, backing up, what rap song are you featured in?
Gosh, it was a college one of my buddies. So back in the day, my buddy was making music, and he still is making music. He asked me to be in one of his songs, and I said...
On the record. Like,
on the record.
you're rapping.
Yes. So I said,
Oh my God.
I said this, I will be in your rap song under one condition, that you let me write my own bars.
Okay.
So-
And should we hear it? Do you still remember?
I still remember. I have it saved. Maybe sometime we can hear it.
I'm like, can we just insert here?
Yeah, can you just do it right now? Or
Gosh, I have to have the beat because it's been like a long time, but I do
So funny.
have the song still written.
okay, and you've run a half marathon. My only thing is I'm not sure if only having been to 2 countries is not exactly a flex. Like some women might be a little turned off by that. Mm-hmm. I guess the right woman for you probably doesn't travel a ton, but so many people say oh my passion is travel.
Yeah.
Do you aspire to go to more countries?
Oh yeah.
Or not really for you?
I aspire to travel more to Europe and see what that's like.
Okay, yeah. Okay, no drugs, no smoke. Okay, I don't think if you don't you don't need to put that you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't smoke weed, and you don't do drugs. You could just put don't smoke cigarettes, and I think these 2 will be assumed. It's just
I disagree
a lot.
because I smoke weed, and I check that.
Okay, that you put yes to weed on here.
Yeah, I put yes to weed, but no to other stuff on there.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I guess my thing is I feel like having a lot of info here is just
it could be too much.
Yeah, but okay, you want children, you don't have children. That's fair to put. Not yet vaccinated. Is that important to you and a partner?
I would say so.
Okay, I'm getting ahead of it. Christian, you want a Christian woman? Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. You want to have that then. Let's see. Here's a picture of you and your friends. I like that it makes you look tall.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, keep those photos with your short friends. Oh, damn.
We got the powerlifting video. Yep,
We've got
there we
the
go.
shirtless pic.
Gotta have a shirt. That's a good shirtless pic too, because you're doing something. It's not like you're just in the mirror
Yeah, I
being
didn't
a
wanna,
weirdo.
do a me
Yeah.
photo or
No,
anything.
no.
Yeah.
That's
that's the
definitely
number
douchebag vibe.
That's the number
Yeah.
one thing that, like I said, like a lot of my guy friends that have had me look at their profiles, it's like 4 selfies and one of them's a shirtless selfie. And I'm like, bro, one selfie maximum, maybe.
And then like the shirtless photo has to be, there's a reason for you being shirtless,
Yeah.
like that. Okay, I love this cowboy pic.
That's good, yeah.
With your like your future ranch in the background. Let's see. I feel like that could be like a caption on there, like scouting for like future ranch land, like 'cause that's a good qualifier. You mentioned you wanted someone.
That.
Me and my newborn nephew. That's cute. You might want to like retake that one. You look a little bit confused holding him, but I guess it's like evidence. A little bit of an awkward. Okay, I think you could improve a couple of your photos. You need one, like, because you're handsome, you're tall, you're in great shape. I would love just like a more of a lifestyle shot. Like this first one, it's like feels very formal up close. I would almost rather see a picture of you in a suit that's like backed up a little bit, full body, at the wedding, giving the speech, walking down the aisle, like whatever it is. Not for your wedding, obviously, somebody else's. And then like here, you got your wetsuit on, you got a big ass surfboard. I just don't feel like that's doing much for you. Or do you surf, or is it just like the one time you took a lesson?
That was the one time.
It's giving one time. So I would ditch that and put something else. I love the cowboy pic. Don't hate me if I beat you in cornhole. Okay, together we could do CrossFit and run a high rocks race. I have mixed feelings about this because there's probably plenty of women out there who are going to be fit enough and athletic enough for you, but don't want to do CrossFit with you.
Don't want to do races.
I would nix this prompt.
I used to go to a gym where like the focus was high rocks training, and I got so sick of it I quit.
I don't
the
even
gym.
know what that
like,
is.
It's basically like a fitness guy competition thing. I don't know.
See, this is speaking to the dudes.
Yeah.
Nix that. So yeah, I think updating, I mean, how do? You get decent matches online?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten a few matches actually with the CrossFit High Rocks one, but that's only a niche kind of person that's going to actually like it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like those matches are strong? Like, are they typically the type of woman you're really excited about?
I'd say it's mixed, half and half. Sometimes it's really good ones. Sometimes it's not so much good ones. So I don't get bad matches necessarily.
Okay. So. Yeah, I think there is like a few low-hanging fruit, a couple new photos, maybe swapping out that prompt.
Definitely the typo would be a thing for me. I know that sounds so picky, but just making sure there's not typos, I'd be like, oh.
Well, especially for women who, like, women get so many matches.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to narrow it down. So if you're looking for ways to narrow it down, you're like, he's a CrossFit guy. He's got a typo. Like, so you just want to like take care of that low-hanging fruit, and then
yeah, you could literally change that CrossFit one to like a girl that'll work out with me or like whatever. I don't know, just like a little bit less pressure than CrossFit and high rocks.
But still, still fitness focused.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that would be an improvement.
A girl that can lift iron and my deer after I shoot it or something. I don't know.
Are you a hunter? Don't put that in your profile.
Oh man, I assumed it because of the ranch stuff.
Because of the rest of the profile. I could see that being
Sorry to project.
I could see that being a assumption. Yeah, I'm a big fan of anything that's gonna like, you didn't have anything like that necessarily, but like hunting, smoking, guns. Some people are going to be okay with that, but it's going to turn a lot of women off. So it's like, skip those things as a guy. Like you're trying to like optimize your top of funnel as a guy, because it's just like, that's what online dating is. Like you want to get as much inbound as possible and then like see what you want to convert to dates.
So funny that it's like a sales funnel.
It truly is.
The verbiage is the same.
You got to treat it like that. Well, Jensen, thank you so much for being vulnerable, sharing about your dating life with us. It sounds like you're doing so much of the right stuff. I would say, keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like your top of funnel's firing. Keep that up. And then really work on making sure when you show up on these dates that you're being fun and flirty and relaxed and not necessarily getting stuck in the execution mode.
Mm-hmm. The relaxed is huge. Like, I think that bleeds into the confidence, because it's like, if you know who you are as a person, which it sounds like you have a lot of your own hobbies and things that you're interested in, like that does ultimately make someone so much more attractive. Like a big complaint that I hear, that I say sometimes, and that a lot of my single friends say, is like, I don't want this guy to like need me for all these things. I don't want him to need me for his socialization, or need me for finances, or need me for like emotion. Like obviously we're going to emotionally support each other, but you know what I mean? Like we don't want to feel like we're just being sucked of all of our energy from all these different ways, and being interested in your own things and having your own hobbies and knowing who you are and being confident in that on the date goes so far.
Yeah, and you definitely have those things.
Yeah.
So making sure you're flexing them and talking
and
about
relax
them.
into it. Like, you know who you are. You've got a lot of things going for you. You're clearly successful in a lot of other areas. So that can speak for itself.
Yeah, and I think especially with the women you're most interested that aren't converting, the more like, okay, say a woman you are really excited about, like remembering, okay, this is still a stranger, this is still a first date. Like I need to see if I actually like her beyond just like being really attracted to her.
Right.
That's an important component. But thank you so much for being here. You are such a catch. I'm sure there are some women out there, maybe even watching, who would love to go on a date with you. So drop those notes in the comments. And Allison, thank you for sharing as well and giving some great advice. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. This was very fun. And thanks for letting me unprofessionally chat with you about this stuff. Yeah, my name's Allison Wojtowecz. You can find me at Alliwo, ALLIWO, on pretty much all the platforms. It's my website too if you want to come see my comedy.
Great. Thanks for being here, guys. Woo, we're done.
Yay.
I love me some Christmas. I don't like a mistletoe. I'm tired of tradition, yo. Because I am a Christian, yeah. I'm not ashamed of my thoughts. Cause back in the day I was shot. I just wanna try something new.